right, man. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the review. I'm going to say this. I'm gonna start off like this. I like Man of Steel more, and so watching the movie, it's very obvious that this is a James Gunn movie. I okay. Let me start with my rate. I would give it probably a 7. It was an okay movie. It's not as hyped up as people, hype it up to be. Obviously, that's the reason why I chose to watch it before I came to a judgment. But, I just, to be honest, the movie kind of just felt like it didn't have any depth. Like, it just felt like everything was just thrown in and we had to make this work. And, it went on from there. Uh, I just want to say that of all the characters in the movie, Mr. Terrific was probably my favorite. Guy Gardner, I liked it him. Actually, let me get on a small rant right quick. See, Nathan Fillion, the guy who should play Nathan Drake instead of Tom Holland in the Uncharted movie, Nathan Fillion did a good job, but this is my problem. Like, Nathan Fillion is old, which means that Guy Gardner is old. And I seriously never liked it. The fact that they made Hal Jordan and Guy Gardner old. They made them old and made Jon Stewart young. And, when I heard that they were trying to cast an older Hal Jordan, I was like, oh my God, they're trying to do that mentor shit where it's Hal Jordan passing the torch. And I'm like, bro, you could just make them all around the same age. You didn't have to make them old. Just like, bro, that pisses me off. But anyways, you could have Hal Jordan be the mentor without him being old. But it's clear that they want to give Jon Stewart the spotlight. But anyways, Hawk Girl, I was watching spoiler free reviews and all that about Hawk Girl, and people say that Hawk Girl's trash and all that, but I actually like the Hawk Girl. The only thing I didn't like about her was that little battle cry thing she was doing. That shit was stupid. But besides that, I actually like the Hawk Girl. But the problem is that like we didn't really get much of Hawk Girl. Like it just felt like she had to be there. Um the political thing about this movie was really fucking obvious. Like you can literally just see it. Like they didn't really, you know, it was just really obvious. Anyways, as far as the plot goes, it seems like they went with that Batman shit where his parents weren't really good people. And so they did that with Superman. And so like at this point he was pretty much supposed to be a Viltrumite. And I'm just sitting here looking at this like, bro. And then like the way it showed up, like the pacing in this movie is very bad, bro. We went from them stopping that giant monster to, oh hey Superman, this video just dropped. Hey, we hate you now. Like it was just what? Like if anything, when you get the people's trust, they're gonna be like, oh, I don't believe this. I'm not buying this. Instead, they just immediately turned on him. And my thing is that like comparing this to the anime show, that finale where he went and he confronted Darkseid after Darkseid brainwashed him, that I can see why they hate him. But in this, like the news just dropped and they're like they went from I love you Superman to I hate you Superman, and like that didn't, the pacing in this movie was really bad. Um, what else? Oh yeah, again the plot. The plot was weak. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like the plot was just it was just Lex trying to find some way to fuck over Superman. That's all it was. And this is the first movie of the DCU, and this fucker Lex Luthor is already fucking OP. Like he can already clone Superman. He can already make his own pocket dimension. Like he's already OP. Now, um, the actor Nicholas Holt, he did a good job as Lex Luthor. But Lex Luthor was trash. Like, this is a whole nother level of childishly hating somebody. And if you're wondering if Superman got his ass whooped the whole movie, he did. I don't think he won the fight. No, yeah, he didn't win the fight, bro. He fought Ultraman, and like I thought, Lex was calling out these calculations and all that, these numbers, telling him how to fight Superman. Like, again, he's already OP. Lex was calling out all these calculations, and that's how Ultraman was beating him. And what I thought was that he was going to become unpredictable somehow. And then he was going to show Lex that he still doesn't really have him figured out. But that's not what happened. Like, he had to destroy. Oh my God! Speaking of destroying those cameras, bro, Crypto. Oh my God, Crypto was an insert, bro. It was James Gunn's dog that was inserted into this movie. That's the reason why Crypto is in the movie. And oh, bro, Crypto is annoying, bro. It was just like I fucking. Oh, before I get into hating Crypto, I just want to say that this movie actually made me more hyped to see Supergirl than anything. To be honest, I feel like this could have just been a Supergirl movie. To be honest with you, um, aside from that, Crypto was annoying. I hated Crypto. I'm sorry, I didn't like Crypto. But aside from the Crypto shit, back to the other shit. I just want to say that when he was fighting that giant monster or kaiju, whatever they want to call it, I felt that was pretty good. But it was pretty over the top when he was trying to save everything in sight. And I feel like the only reason why he was doing that is because you're coming off of Zack Snyder's Superman. The universe was a lot darker and more realistic as to how they would take for Superman. And James Gunn went much more out of his way to have him save everything just so that the fanboys. Oh, I feel like the people who praised this movie were actually just MCU fanboys. It had to be them, bro. We'll see in a couple months when the hype dies down and see if people are still talking about this movie. But honestly, like, you have to think about it. See, back in the Snyderverse. Oh, let me get this off my chest about the Snyderverse right quick. Please stop saying restore the Snyderverse. At this point, the actors and actresses are older, and it's just not going to work anymore. Granted, the old leadership at Warner Brothers fucked everything up. It's over for the Snyderverse. I'm a Snyder fan, but it's over. Everybody is too old. I was definitely down for that Henry Cavill Superman movie sequel, but he got fucked over. See, the problem is that like the heads at Warner Bros. Back then, they're fucking idiots. They're fucking liberal idiots. They didn't know what they were doing. They were literally going to replace Batman and Superman with fucking Supergirl and Batgirl. And Supergirl was, what was Supergirl? Mexican or some shit, Latina, and Batgirl was Dominican. That is what they were trying to go for. That shit was trash. I hate that the universe turned out that way because I feel that the Snyderverse was actually pretty good, and the only people who were hating those movies were MCU fanboys, and they were literally going leaps and bounds. Oh, they were literally like Lex Luthor in this movie. They were pretending to be DC fans, trying to hate on the shit. And I always say this is how you expose them. They are fine with Peter Parker in Across the Spider-Verse bringing his daughter into different dimensions. They are fine with Tom Holland Spider-Man bringing villains back to his house. They're fine with all these. These are huge character breaking out of trace moments, and they don't say a damn thing about it. But goddamn, Superman can't save a woman in time or something like that in the Snyderverse, and they're grilling him for it. They really went that far, and it was so childish. And then when that Wonder Woman movie came out, and they felt that they had competition, that's when they came in hard. But the problem is Warner Brothers self-destructed the Snyderverse, and that's why I got all that nonsense. And then they bring in the Snyder cut, and that was great. But unfortunately, it's just like a Mass Effect and Andromeda where we were supposed to get DLCs, but they just said fuck it. And now the DCU will work better than that did because the head is also directing the movies. The head sucks, but he's directing the movies. But as far as it goes, James Gunn is only good at, writing no name characters, forgettable characters. But as far as writing Superman, it's very clear that he didn't really, you know, it wasn't really there for him. And watching this movie, I felt like I didn't get anything from it. It just felt like a TV special. Like it was just kind of weak. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Uh, Geez, like I don't know if I can say that I was disappointed or anything, but to back up what I'm saying, as I said, I watched reviews of this movie, spoiler free, and I watched the Angry Joe review where he said that he's going to review this as a critic and as a fan. And I'm like, bro, just keep it real with yourself. Was this movie good or not? Like, that's the shit I be saying, bro. People cannot be honest with themselves. But I'm going to be honest for you. This movie, it's an okay movie. It's very disappointing because this is what's supposed to start off the universe. And at this point, to be honest, this movie made me more hyped to see Supergirl than anything. Because this movie actually it felt more like it should have been for Supergirl. Like it was just kind of weak. And speaking of Supergirl, they made her this party girl and all that shit. Like I like the casting. It's much better than that Latina chick. That shit was stupid. The Latina chick did a good job, by the way, but I like the casting of Supergirl. But this movie off rip, like after watching this movie, I kind of don't care about Superman anymore. I just want to see what they're going to do with the other characters at this point. Like at this point, I have a checklist, and I already checked Superman. I'm checked out of Superman, bro. He was whack. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like they could have did much better, but now I'm curious to see how they're going to do Batman. And unfortunately, it's going to be the same case like it is with Superman. Like apparently, Batman's supposed to have Damian in the movie with him, and like that's my problem with Superman. I wish that Krypto was not there. Again, Crypto was an insert, bro. Like we did not need Crypto, and then like you didn't even give us the right Crypto. And if Damien is supposed to be with Batman, then I'm already checked out, bro. I want to see Batman on his own. You can have Robin cameo and all that, but I want to see a solo Batman, bro. But unfortunately, the movie is supposed to be called Brave and the Bold, and I'm guessing that Robin is in the fucking movie. And now that leads me to just wanting to see either Wonder Woman or Flash. And I actually am looking forward to seeing the Flash because I hated Ezra Miller. And it is possible to be a fan of something and still criticize it. I hated how John Kent died in Man of Steel. Like I have no problem doing that. I'm not a fanboy. I can do that. People want to say, "Oh, you're a Snyder," but like I had no problem saying it. And I hated Ezra Miller. He was trash and he was gay, and he was just so gay to the point where his sprinting stance was so off. But anyways, I'm really looking forward to who they cast as the Flash. But aside from that, like this movie, it was just a very weak way to start off the universe. Like you could have did something much better. But it just again, this felt like a movie that was made just to be made. And the only reason the Snyderverse ended the way that it did was just for James Gunn to make his own universe because he wanted to make a Superman movie. That's the only reason why. Now, there were great moments in this movie. Make no mistake. Like again, when he was fighting the giant monster, we I don't think we ever got that in the Superman movie. But anyways, like that was good to see. Like at first it was good, but then later on, like it got lame when he just resorted to saving squirrels and shit. Like that wasn't. It could have been better. And then like another thing is that like it was a 2-on-1. He was fighting that nano machine chick and Ultraman. Like when she had those nano machines going up to him, I thought that he was going to freeze them or use his heat vision or something. Nope, he just let them crawl right up in his mouth. Pause. So, long story short, the movie, like, I don't know if I can say that this movie could have been better, but it's definitely overrated. Like, I, I, I could, knowing what I know, I didn't even have to watch this movie. Like, that's how bad it is, bro. Again, I give it a 7. I wasn't really feeling this movie. It was kind of underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie to you. I give it a 7 because I like the feeling and all that. I liked some of the effects. Some things were good, but mostly the looks of it is the reason why I give it a 7. Not because of the plot, not because of the shallow characters, none of that, bro. Again, the writing was the weakest thing about this movie. The plot was weak, the characters were weak. Lois Lane was trash. I'm sorry. I of everything, the Justice Game was the best part of this movie for me. I liked it them the most. Aside from that, like this movie, I definitely like Man of Steel much much more. And unfortunately for this movie, I feel like this is one of those movies that I'm just going to watch one time and never watch again. So there you have it. That's how I feel about Superman. Again, I don't know if this movie could have been better, but it was very disappointing because again, this was supposed to cap out the universe, but it was a very weak start. And yeah, that's how I'm feeling about it. Sorry if I sorry if I didn't cuck myself enough to like this movie, but again, we only keep it real over here. This movie, like, it's an okay movie. It's mid. It's okay. Like, you know, watch it if you want to watch it, but I'm not watching this shit again.